Welcome to It's in the Details. My name is Damian Waith, and thank you for joining us on this week's episode. I'm There's a lot of sports going on, and I have been enraptured by sports. We're not getting into a bunch of it today, though. F1 last week happened. They were in Italy. Red Bull put together an amazing week. Max Verstappen won the sprint race. Max Verstappen won the real race. And his homeboy, Sergio Perez, got that 1-2 in the big time race. Maximum points for Red Bull this weekend. Fantastic. We had some surprises. Aston Martin picked up some points. Yuki Tsunoda with AlphaTauri picked up some points. George Russell, newcomer to Mercedes this year, finished fourth. Good for him. Apparently, through 4 races of the season, he's the only man to finish in the top 5 of every single race. Can you imagine that? That's really stunning. Good for him. And I think people who've been watching for a longer time than I have would not be surprised by this, because for the limited time I've been watching F1, I'm not surprised, really, that George is doing well. A little surprised he's doing as well as he is, especially considering he's driving this Mercedes vehicle that people keep saying is not that good a vehicle. And part of the reason they're saying that is, well, they're not qualifying very well, for sure. They're not putting up all the points they would imagine or would expect to, being Mercedes. And Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, finished 13th in this last race, 13th or 14th. And it was pretty painful. They got caught in what is called a DRS train, and that is just simply if you're so close to the person in front of you, you get to open the back wing of your car, and you get to go a little bit faster in these designated areas. And when you've got multiple cars in the same space at the same time, all getting DRS, then you got a train. And nobody can pass anybody because everybody's going faster than expected, and there's not a lot of space on the track. So the guy that's giving everybody DRS, basically, you can't pass him either. And then you got Hamilton stuck behind Pierre Gasly for something like 30 or 40 laps. I can't imagine how frustrating that must have been. Guess what, though? Probably not the most frustration Lewis Hamilton felt all weekend, because he got lapped. I've been watching, I think I got 30 or 40 races under my belt recently, and Lewis, I don't believe, has been lapped in any of them. Right? Now, when I say he got lapped, he didn't get lapped by the whole field, but he definitely got lapped by the leader. And the leader, as you've already heard me say, is the winner, Max Verstappen. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's a lot. Rivals. Maybe Max shouldn't have won last year, but his name's on the trophy. They were going back and forth all last season. They were crashing into each other. And now you get to watch this dude pass you. And I think he finished like 2 minutes behind. 2 minutes behind Max for the race. Whatever. They'll figure it out. But in a press conference on the Saturday, not the Sunday, the Saturday after the sprint race, Lewis Hamilton told the reporter, every weekend is a rescue. Now, out of context, I don't know if that's as funny as it is to me with the context. But essentially, he's saying, I show up every weekend and try to figure out how to rescue the weekend. And there's a team. I don't think he means just me. But he's the one in the car, right? They did all the things they could do in the factory. They did all the things they could do in the garage. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, this man's got to get in this car. And he's telling you it feels like every weekend is a rescue. Not a work in progress, not a work in progress, not a challenge, not hard work, not all of these other things you could say to let people know things aren't all the way right. Things aren't all the way where I need them to be, right? Nah, he's not using any of those words. Every weekend is a rescue. When I heard it, it was like someone dropped a ton of bricks out of a third-story building. Like, it landed with the ultimate thud. And I was shocked because on Sunday, they ran the interview a bunch of times, and they never let us hear this man say every weekend is a rescue. That was the only quote from anything he said all weekend. That's the only thing people needed to hear over and over again to let people know this is how he's feeling about that. I think it's the W12 or the W13, whatever model this new F1 car from Mercedes is called. But there are problems a-brewing in Mercedes, and Lewis has decided it's time for everyone to know how he really feels. Every weekend is a rescue. Now, I said there's a lot of sports going on. I talked a little bit about F1 off the jump, but there's basketball, there's playoffs going on. And I talked about some play-in games, maybe a game that one Kevin Durant was involved in. Shout out Goran Dragic. Enjoy your time off. The Raptors are going to go worry about playing Game 6. Goran, you go enjoy your time off with the Brooklyn Nets. But yeah, I talked about Kevin Durant and how he was must-see TV. And that was on the heels of watching that play-in game. He played phenomenal. He looked great. He was licking down shots. He was blocking people. He was playing great defense. And then he had to play the Boston Celtics in the first round. And that didn't go so well. So if any of y'all watched any of those must-see games I said about Kevin Durant, I apologize. My bad. But I can apologize. He's a little bit older. He's coming off some injuries. He's got a team that hasn't really played together all season. It's not really that big a surprise. The Miami Heat had trouble when LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade all got together that first year too. I am not a Nets fan. It doesn't matter, okay? It does not matter. I just had to say the apologies. What I really wanted to talk to you about is some other basketball, a TV show called Winning Time. Winning Time, the rise of the Lakers dynasty. And I was going to get to this show. I really was. I was going to get to it. I think it's over now. I'm about halfway through the season. And I planned on getting to it, and I was going to get to it at some point. But I watch my fair share of sports talk on TV or even podcasts, and I seem to gravitate to these old guys. These old guys were the guys that were on TV when I was young coming up, and they're still doing it, and they're familiar, so I'm sticking with them. These old guys know these people in this show. The show is based on the Lakers, late 70s, early 80s, and how they became the Lakers that you all know today. Not LeBron's Lakers. not let's get a bunch of dudes together that are all going to the Hall of Fame in 3 years because they're all ancient. Not those Lakers, but what the Laker franchise has become. And what the Lakers franchise became happened in the 80s. Magic, Kareem, James Worthy, all them dudes, okay? They had a lot of dudes. Pat Riley was the coach. There's a lot of stuff was going on. But, I mean, they had Jerry Buss as the owner, his family doing their things. Like, a lot of stuff was going on at that time. It was perfect timing for the Lakers to pop off in Hollywood. It was just kismet. But all these old guys I listen to talk about sports are really upset with the depiction of Jerry West in this show. Really mad. They're really mad. They're talking about it all the time. And Jerry West is mad too. He's finally come out and he said, my lawyers are going to be talking to the people responsible for this show, all sorts of stuff like that, right? And these same old guys keep saying, some of them say they're never going to watch it. Some of them said they started watching it and they're done watching it. They're not going to continue. And a couple of others, very much in the minority, who get to talk about stuff like this, have said they're going to keep watching it because it's a fictional show, mostly, and it's just entertainment. Did they do the man wrong? Probably. This is what that one guy, old guy said. His name's David Aldridge. Did they do him wrong? Almost definitely. But it's entertainment. He's going to watch it. It's a good show, he said. Now, these old guys who are saying that they're not going to be watching the show, it carries with it a bit of weight of, I'm not watching the show, and I don't think any of you should watch the show either. Right? That's what I'm kind of hearing out of them. They haven't said it explicitly. But to someone like me, when all this hubbub starts up, all this talking and whatnot about how this show is disgraceful to this man, I went and I found a video of Magic talking about his documentary that he's putting together. They Call Me Magic. That's going to be on Apple TV. He's talking about how if people think they know anything about me from this Winning Time show, it's not even close. They don't know anything about, come see my documentary on Apple TV. That's where their show lives. So when all that stuff gets drummed up, I go, I think I need to see this. I really do. And the first time I really noticed that about myself, I'd say in particular, was Jersey Shore. Jersey Shore. I heard Jersey Shore was happening, and I heard the Guido talk and the Jersey this and the meathead that, and I was like, I don't think I need to spend my time on this show at all, right? Jersey Shore is not for me. And then I heard all of these companies pulling their advertising revenue out of MTV and out of Jersey Shore because of how terrible the depictions of these people on this show were. And I said, oh, I guess this is a show for me. And I haven't looked back since. I've been so happy watching the Jersey Shore people do what they're doing because that's not really them, guys. That's not really who they are. Are we ever going to really know who any of these Jersey Shore people are? No, we're not. We're not. And we don't need to. Okay? And the same thing for me goes for Winning Time. People are upset because Jerry West is still alive and they know him and he does not act like the cartoon character portrayal of Jerry West in this show. Okay, fine. I am a person who does not know Jerry West. I don't know him very well. I know that he was very good at basketball. I know secondhand, obviously, through a little bit of research, he might have some mental health things that he's been fairly open about. And he's the logo. He is the logo of the NBA. When you look at the NBA logo, that little man you see on the thing is Jerry West. Okay, these are the things I know about Jerry West. Now, if I go to this show and I see this man throwing trophies through windows and things like that, yelling and screaming and cussing everybody out, I don't automatically go, hey man, Jerry West must be a crazy person. That doesn't automatically happen for me, right? It would be nice if more people felt that way too. Just because I saw this thing on the screen, that must definitely be how it happened in history. But everybody doesn't really take that time to think about stuff like that. It was based on a book. The book was factual, so this must be factual. That does not have to be true. Like when you see the little blurbs before things come on and they're like, this is based on blah, 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 and some of the names have been changed to protect people and some of the stuff has been fictionalized for the storytelling. If you can't Google the thing instantly, then assume it's fake. Assume it's fake. The show was fun. The show is a lot of fun. I gotta say, I'm a dabbler when it comes to reading. Some things pique my interest. I go get that book. I sit down and I read it. Knowing that this show is based on a book, knowing that someone spent a painstaking amount of time creating that book, and from the sounds of it, the book is very factual. I am going to enjoy the moving pictures of this television show, and I think they also sold me a book, because now I'm super curious about how far off this actually is. I'm super curious about all of the things they definitely left out, even though they had 10 episodes for season 1. They couldn't put everything in the book into the show. Okay? So I think they sold me a book. They definitely sold me a book. I'm going to pick up Winning Time. I assume that's what it's called, but I'm going to pick up Winning Time and read that book as soon as I'm done with this season. And I'm sure there's going to be a second season because the show is hot. I didn't even talk about the show yet. The show starring John C. Reilly as Jerry Buss. John C. Reilly done a lot of stuff with Will Ferrell. Very funny man. Anchorman, Talladega Nights, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox Story, a bunch of other things that I haven't seen him in. But every time he pops up, he's hilarious. And him as Jerry Buss is almost unfair because Jerry Buss is doing some things. He doesn't seem like a bad guy. I want to say that off the top. But he's doing some things where everything is not traditionally above board. Okay? But John C. Reilly is so damn likable in general. And then he's so likable as Jerry Buss. You're just like, oh, Jerry. Jerry will figure it out. It's fine. It's fine. Look at Jerry go. Look at Jerry / John C. Reilly showing up in rooms with 1 or 2 buttons done up on his button-up shirts. Just the shirt is opening from the belly button up. It's just... I hope that is not creative license. I'm going to go Google some images of Jerry Buss back in the day and see how much belly skin we could see with this man just walking around in public. He got a shirt and a jacket on, and he's more naked than people with just one shirt on. I hope that's how Jerry was getting down. Man, the young fellow that plays Magic, he's got that Magic Johnson 10,000 watt smile and a very gregarious attitude. I'm sure these are the things that helped him land this role. Like, he's very enjoyable too. As I said off the jump, Magic said, if you're learning anything about me from this show and you believe it's factual, it's not. It's a story, right? Some people got together and they made a show. Okay, so I don't know how factual any of this stuff is about Magic, but what I do know is the show is entertaining. Jeannie Buss, Jerry Buss's daughter, and now I guess you could call her the owner of the Lakers. She's running the Lakers, but Jeannie Buss is played by a young lady named Hadley Robinson. I'm enjoying her too. There's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of nuance between her and her father in only half the season that I've seen. In that you can see this young lady clearly cares about her father very much, a lot. You could see she admires him. You could tell she sees all of the accomplishments that he has made over his lifetime, and you can also see she's very aware of some of his little personality foibles, if you will. Some of the stuff I was talking about off the jump, where there's a little bit of philandering, some questionable business practices, some stuff, and she's seeing it, but he's still her daddy, right? Like it feels like you can see she still loves him so much, but why does my daddy do these things, And Sally Field plays Jerry Buss's mom, and the scenes between John C. Reilly and Sally Field I found to be very touching. Again, I'm only half the season. I don't know what has happened in the back half, but very touching scenes. There's so much. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is very interesting. I don't know how on target they are with him, but it doesn't matter. It's the things I've heard about Kareem seem to be representative of what's going on in this show. Not word for word, but just it seems to be pretty spot on. Regardless, Winning Time is a fun little project. If you don't know any of these Lakers in real life, don't assume what you're seeing as facts on the screen. But even if you're not a sports fan, I think you would get down with the business and the drama and the comedy and the entertainment of this show. And with that, thank you very much for joining me here on It's in the Details. Please do remember to hit the buttons, like, comment, subscribe, rate, review, and we'll see y'all in a week. Take care. Peace.